There's a kind of pain nobody prepares you for. The kind where you're in a relationship but you still feel alone. Where you keep checking your phone not because you're obsessed, but because you're hoping, just hoping, that this time he'll show up the way you need him to. Where you replay conversations in your head, wondering if maybe you said too much or not enough. And the scary part is, it didn't start like this. It started with butterflies, with late-night conversations that made you feel chosen, with promises that sounded so real you didn't even question them. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Not suddenly, not loud enough for you to walk away immediately, just slowly, quietly, until one day you woke up and realized you were no longer the same person. Now you overthink everything. Now you second-guess your worth. Now you're holding on to someone who feels distant, confusing, and inconsistent. But you keep telling yourself, maybe it's just a phase. Maybe he'll change. Maybe he just needs time. Maybe if you love him a little harder. But deep down, there's a voice inside you that's been whispering the truth for a long time. And today, we're not ignoring that voice anymore. Because sometimes the hardest truth to accept is this. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. So if you've been feeling confused, drained, or like you're losing yourself trying to hold on to someone, this is for you. 1. Inconsistent communication. It starts off small, you don't even question it at first. He replies late, disappears for hours, sometimes days, then comes back with sweet words that make everything feel okay again. And because you want it to work, you accept it. You tell yourself he's just busy or stressed or going through something. But over time, that inconsistency begins to shape your emotions. Your mood starts depending on whether or not he shows up. You check your phone more, you feel anxious when he disappears, and relieved when he returns. Without realizing it, you've been trained to accept emotional instability as normal, and now, peace feels unfamiliar. 2. Only talks when it suits him. You begin to notice a pattern. He reaches out when he's bored, lonely, or needs attention. But when you need him, he's suddenly unavailable. It's subtle at first, but the imbalance grows. You start adjusting your time just to fit into his life. Slowly, you lose your sense of priority. You become someone who is always there for him, while he remains someone you have to wait for. And the painful truth is, love shouldn't feel like you're being picked up and put down whenever it's convenient. 3. Dismisses your feelings. Every time you try to express yourself, it turns into something else. You say you're hurt, and he says you're overreacting. You explain your emotions, and he makes you feel dramatic. Eventually, you start talking less. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you're tired of not being understood. Over time, this silences you. You begin to question your own emotions, wondering if maybe you are too sensitive. But the truth is, you're not asking for too much. You're just asking someone who refuses to meet you emotionally. 4. Gaslighting. You remember what happened clearly, but somehow, he convinces you it didn't happen that way. He twists conversations, denies things he said, and makes you feel like your memory is unreliable. At first, it's confusing. Then it becomes exhausting. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself. And once you lose trust in your own reality, you become easier to control, easier to silence, easier to keep in a situation that isn't healthy for you. 5. Fake apologies. He says sorry, but nothing ever changes. The same issues come back, the same patterns repeat, and you're stuck in a cycle of hurt, followed by temporary peace. You hold on to the apology, hoping it means something, but deep down, you know it doesn't.
Sorry.
Because a real apology doesn't just sound good, it looks different. It shows up in changed behavior. And when that's missing, all you're left with are empty words and repeated pain. 6. Blames you for everything. No matter what happens, it somehow turns back to you. If he hurts you, it's because you provoked him. If there's distance, it's because you're too much. Slowly, the narrative shifts until you're the one carrying all the blame. And the more you accept that blame, the more you start apologizing for things that aren't even your fault. You shrink, you adjust, you try harder, while he stays exactly the same. 7. Talks down on you. It doesn't always come as direct insults. Sometimes it's disguised as jokes, sarcasm, or honesty. But each comment leaves a small mark. Each one chips away at your confidence little by little. And one day, you realize you don't see yourself the way you used to, The person who once felt confident now feels unsure, and the saddest part is, it happened so gradually you didn't even notice. 8. Lies often. It starts with small lies, things that seem harmless. But those small lies create cracks in your trust. You begin to question everything, even the truth, because consistency is no longer there. Living like that is exhausting. You're always trying to figure out what's real and what isn't. And love is not supposed to feel like constant doubt. 9. Avoid serious conversations. Every time things get deep, he changes the subject, shuts down, or disappears. Issues never get resolved, they just get pushed aside until they resurface again. Over time, this creates emotional distance. You feel like you're carrying the weight of the relationship alone, trying to fix things with someone who refuses to meet you halfway. 10. You feel unheard. You talk, you explain, you open up, but it feels like your words don't land, like they pass through him without being understood or valued. And that kind of loneliness is different, because it's not about being alone, it's about feeling alone with someone who's supposed to care. 11. You do all the work. At first, it feels like you're just putting in effort. You text first, you plan the dates, you try to fix misunderstandings. You tell yourself relationships require work, so you don't question why it always feels like you're the only one doing it. But over time, it becomes exhausting. You realize you're not building something together, you're carrying it alone. And the more you give, the more he takes, until you're drained and he's comfortable doing nothing at all. 12. No clear intentions. You ask where things are going, and he gives vague answers. Let's just enjoy the moment. Why rush things? It sounds harmless, even romantic at first, so you stay, hoping clarity will come with time. But time passes, and nothing changes. Because the truth is, when someone is serious about you, they don't leave you guessing. Ambiguity is not confusion, it's a choice to keep you without committing to you. 13. Let's see where it goes. Forever. Those words keep you hopeful. You think something real is building, that eventually it will turn into something solid. So you invest more, your time, your emotions, your energy. But months go by, sometimes years, and you're still in the same undefined place, and the painful realization hits. You've been building a future in your mind with someone who never planned one with you. 14. No effort and quality time. You don't need expensive dates, you just want presence. But even that feels like too much to ask. He doesn't plan anything, doesn't prioritize seeing you, doesn't create moments that matter. And over time, you stop expecting it. You start accepting less, telling yourself it's okay, when deep down, you know you deserve someone who actually wants to spend time with you. 15. Only tries when you're leaving. The moment you start pulling away, he suddenly changes. He becomes attentive, caring, everything you've been asking for, and it confuses you because now you see the version of him you've been waiting for. But it never lasts, because that version only shows up when he feels like he's losing you. And that's not love, that's control wrapped in temporary effort. 16. Keeps you hidden. You're present in his life, but not publicly. No introductions, no acknowledgement, no real space for you in his world. At first you make excuses for it. You tell yourself he's private. But deep down, it doesn't feel right. Because someone who is proud of you doesn't hide you. Being hidden often means there's something, or someone, he's protecting more than your place in his life. 17. Doesn't celebrate you. When something good happens to you, you expect excitement, support, maybe even pride. But instead you get indifference, or minimal reactions that make your moment feel small. So you start shrinking your joy. You stop sharing your wins the way you used to. And slowly, you begin to feel like your happiness doesn't matter in the relationship. 18. Doesn't support your goals. You talk about your dreams, your plans, your future, but he doesn't engage with it. He doesn't encourage you, doesn't show interest, doesn't uplift you in the way a partner should. And over time, it starts affecting your motivation. Because when the person closest to you doesn't believe in your growth, it becomes harder to believe in it yourself. 19. Bare minimum effort. You notice that you're accepting things you once said you never would. Late replies, canceled plans, lack of effort. You brush it off because you don't want to lose him. But what you're really doing is lowering your standards to match his behavior. And once you start accepting the bare minimum, it becomes the new normal. 20. Excuses instead of change. Every issue has an explanation. He's tired, stressed, going through something. You hear reasons instead of results. And because you care, you keep giving him the benefit of the doubt. But explanations don't fix patterns. And after a while, you realize you've been understanding someone who has no intention of changing. 21. Flirts with other women. He calls it harmless. Says he's just friendly, just joking. But it doesn't feel that way to you. It creates discomfort, insecurity, and a quiet sense of disrespect. And the more it happens, the more you start comparing yourself, wondering if you're enough. But the truth is, the issue was never your worth. It was his lack of boundaries. 22. No boundaries with other women. You express your discomfort, but nothing changes. The same behaviors continue, the same lines get crossed, and your feelings are left unprotected.
Sorry.
That's when it becomes clear. He's not unaware, he's choosing not to care. Because setting boundaries isn't difficult when someone truly respects you.
Sorry.
23. You feel the need to check his phone. You weren't always like this. You used to trust freely. But now, something feels off, and you find yourself looking for reassurance in places you never thought you would. And even if you find nothing, the feeling doesn't go away. Because the real issue isn't the phone, it's the lack of peace. 24. Past cheating with no growth. He tells you it was a mistake, something from the past, and you want to believe him, so you give him another chance. But without accountability and real change, history doesn't stay in the past, it repeats itself. And love alone isn't enough to fix patterns that haven't been addressed. 25. Lies about small things. It seems insignificant at first, little details that don't quite add up, but those small lies start to build a bigger picture. And before you know it, you're questioning everything. Because when honesty isn't consistent, trust can't exist. 26. Breaks your trust repeatedly. You forgive, hoping it will be different next time. But the same things keep happening. And each time it hurts a little deeper. Eventually you stop expecting honesty. And when trust is gone, the relationship becomes something you survive, not something you feel safe in. 27. Makes you feel insecure. Instead of reassurance, you get doubt. Instead of comfort, you get uncertainty. And it slowly starts affecting how you see yourself. You begin to question your worth, your appearance, your value, when none of that was ever the problem. 28. Accuses you unfairly. You find yourself defending things you didn't even do. His accusations come out of nowhere, leaving you confused and frustrated. And over time, it shifts your focus. Instead of questioning his behavior, you're stuck proving your innocence. 29. Keeps you confused. One day he's warm, the next he's distant. His energy changes without explanation, leaving you constantly guessing where you stand. And that confusion becomes exhausting, because love is not supposed to feel like something you have to figure out every single day. 30. You don't feel safe trusting him. This is the quiet realization that changes everything. You may still be there physically, but emotionally, something has already pulled back. Because once your sense of safety is gone, the relationship no longer feels like home. It feels like uncertainty. All right, bestie. This is the part most people don't talk about enough. Because this isn't just about what he's doing anymore. This is about what it's doing to you. 31. He drains your energy. You start noticing that after every conversation, every interaction, you feel tired. Not physically, but emotionally. Like something has been taken from you instead of poured into you. Love is supposed to feel like a safe place, somewhere you go to recharge. But with him, it feels like you constantly have to recover. And when someone consistently leaves you feeling empty, it's not love, it's emotional depletion. 32. You feel anxious more than happy. You're no longer at peace. Your mind is always racing, wondering what he's doing, why he hasn't replied, if something is wrong. Even when things seem okay, there's still that underlying tension. And the hardest part? You start thinking this is normal. But love shouldn't feel like anxiety. It shouldn't feel like you're constantly waiting for something to go wrong. 33. You're always overthinking. Every text, every tone, every small change. You analyze it all. You read between lines that shouldn't even exist, trying to make sense of his behavior. And that constant overthinking slowly wears you down, Because instead of feeling secure, you feel like you're solving a puzzle that never fully comes together. 34. He invalidates your emotions. You express yourself, and instead of being understood, you're dismissed. Your feelings are minimized, brushed aside, or turned into something insignificant. So you start holding things in. You stop expressing yourself the way you used to. And little by little, you lose the emotional freedom you once had. 35. He makes you feel not enough. You begin comparing yourself, wondering if you're too emotional, too demanding, too much, or somehow not enough. You start adjusting yourself just to be accepted. But the truth is, the right person doesn't make you question your worth. They remind you of it, and anyone who makes you feel like you have to shrink to be loved is not loving you properly. 36. You've lost your confidence. The version of you that once felt secure, bold, and sure of herself feels distant now. You hesitate more, doubt more, question yourself more. And the scariest part is, you don't even know when it started happening. It just slowly faded, piece by piece, until you barely recognize the person you've become. 37. He's emotionally unavailable. He's there, but not really there. You can't reach him on a deeper level. Conversations stay surface level, emotions feel one-sided, and that kind of distance creates loneliness that's hard to explain, because you're with someone, but you still feel alone. 38. He avoids accountability. No matter what happens, he never truly owns up to his actions. There's always an excuse, a deflection, or a way to shift the blame. And without accountability, nothing ever changes. You're stuck in the same cycle, hoping for growth that never actually comes. 39. He uses your vulnerability against you. The things you shared in trust, the parts of yourself you opened up about, become things he throws back at you later. Maybe in arguments, maybe in subtle ways. And that changes you. You become more guarded, more closed off. Because once your safe space is used against you, it's hard to feel safe again. 40. You cry more than you smile. This is the moment where it becomes undeniable. You're no longer happy, you're just holding on. You spend more time hurting than you do feeling loved. And no matter how much you try to justify it, deep down you know, love is not supposed to feel like this. 41. Your values don't align. At first, differences don't seem like a big deal, but over time you realize you see life differently. Loyalty, respect, commitment, even the future. And no matter how strong your feelings are, misaligned values create constant friction, because love can't fix what fundamentally doesn't match. 42. He has no direction or ambition. You start thinking about the future, about growth, about building something meaningful, but he seems stuck, comfortable where he is with no clear vision ahead. And slowly it starts to worry you, because you realize you might be trying to build a future with someone who isn't building anything at all. 43. He doesn't include you in his future. He talks about plans, dreams, things he wants to do, but you're not part of that picture. It's like you exist in his present, but not in his long-term life. And that realization hurts deeply, because you've been imagining a future together, while he's been imagining one without you. 44. He disrespects your boundaries. You say no, you express limits, you try to protect your peace, but he ignores it, pushes past it, or makes you feel bad for having boundaries at all. And over time, you start letting things slide just to avoid conflict. But every time you do, you lose a little more of your self-respect. 45. He pressures you. Whether it's emotional, physical, or personal, he pushes you into things you're not ready for. And instead of feeling safe, you feel cornered. Real love doesn't force. It doesn't rush. It doesn't make you uncomfortable just to keep someone around. 46. He wastes your time. Time keeps passing, but nothing is moving forward. No growth, no clarity, no real progress, just the same cycle repeating itself. And one day, it hits you. It's not just about the relationship anymore. It's about the time you can't get back. 47. He treats others badly. You notice how he speaks to people, how he treats those who can't do anything for him. It's dismissive, disrespectful, sometimes even harsh. And even if he treats you well sometimes, that behavior is part of who he is. Eventually, it finds its way back to you. 48. His words don't match his actions. He says all the right things, promises, reassurances, plans. But when it comes to action, there's nothing to support those words. And over time, you realize words mean nothing without consistency, because anyone can say something, but not everyone will live it. 49. You feel like you have to fix him. You see his potential, who he could be, and you hold on to that version of him. You try to help, guide, support, hoping he'll grow into that person. But the truth is, you can't build a relationship on potential. You can't love someone into becoming who they're not ready to be. 50. Your intuition keeps telling you something is off. This is the quiet voice you've been trying to ignore, the feeling that something isn't right, even when you can't fully explain it. And the more you silence it, the louder it becomes. Because deep down, you already know the truth. You've just been hoping it would change. Bestie, if you saw yourself in this, even in just a few of these, this isn't here to break you. It's here to wake you up. Because love is not supposed to feel like confusion. It's not supposed to feel like pain you have to endure. It's not supposed to cost you your peace, your confidence, or your sense of self. The right person doesn't make you question your worth. They don't make you feel like you're too much or not enough. They don't leave you guessing where you stand. They make things clear. They make you feel safe. They make you feel chosen consistently. And if you've been holding on to someone who makes you feel the opposite, maybe it's not that you're hard to love. Maybe you've just been loving the wrong person. And if this spoke to a part of you that's been hurting quietly, subscribe. This channel is for the people who love deeply, feel deeply, and sometimes carry pain they never say out loud. Here, you'll find stories, truth, and reminders that you matter. This space is dedicated to making you feel seen, understood, and a little less alone. So if that's what you need right now, subscribe and stay. There's a place for you here.